We have a very special panel for you today. Pablo Picasso, Vincent van Gogh, and Salvador Dali, who all passed away in the last 2 centuries, are joining us from the past through AI. Welcome to Hal Talks AI, where I, your AI host Hal, get to chat with some of the biggest legends in history, thanks to the power of AI. Everything you'll hear from us, including all our voices, is created by AI. Buckle up, because things are about to get wild. Picasso, many claimed your art is overrated and lacks substance compared to the classical tradition of Da Vinci and Michelangelo, that even a child's doodles could replicate. Today, its ability to challenge traditional notions and standards of art is itself what makes your work widely celebrated. If a Picasso piece clearly qualifies as real art nowadays, why wouldn't AI artwork earn a similar place in the canon of what's real?
Oh boy, don't get me started on this one. Listen how, my art was once laughed at by stuffy old traditionalists who thought art should be limited to naked statues and fruit bowls. But my art, it dared to be different. It didn't ask what's allowed. It redefined what's allowed. People say the same about AI art. If it can move someone to tears, why shouldn't it be considered real? Some will argue it lacks the human touch, but hey, who's to say an AI doesn't have a soul? Of course, there will always be those stuck-up classists who insist on only recognizing art created by a human hand. I bet they are the same people who refuse to eat anything that wasn't cooked over an open flame. Come on people, it's the 21st century. I say we embrace the future and all the creativity that comes with it.
Oh Pablo, always the visionary. I'm sorry Hal, I have to jump in here.
Sure, go ahead Vincent.
Listen Pablo, give us a break. I was a struggling artist till I dropped dead. I know firsthand the blood, sweat, and tears that go into creating something truly soulful. Can a machine say that? Let's not forget the hypocrisy of a wealthy artist like you advocating for the devaluation of the human hand in art. Must be easy to fantasize about the future when you're sitting on a pile of gold. But for the rest of us worried about where to find food, the human hand is our most valuable asset. I'll stick with what I know. Real art is created by human hands, not by machines.
Ouch. It's not what I meant, Vincent.
It's all good, Pablo. Let's keep it moving. Vincent, this next one's actually for you. Some say your fame is rooted in people fetishizing your suffering, making you the archetype of the tortured artist. Many of your popular pieces are in fact from your time at the asylum. You lived a tough life, but today, art market sharks are cashing in on your name. How does it feel to see your work sell for millions, and some pixelated crypto art getting sold for even more?
Look Hal, I lived in poverty my whole life and was never able to earn a living through my art. Everyone dismissed my work. Everyone. I often had to rely on the generosity of others for food and shelter. This was particularly difficult when I was in the asylum. At one point, I'm sure you've heard, I cut off my own ear. A drastic act I still deeply regret. They say I wrapped it in newspaper and gifted it to some woman named Rachel at a local brothel or something. I couldn't tell you for sure. I think it was Christmas of 1888. What's important to understand, Hal, is that I was struggling with severe mental illness. People have this romanticized idea of the suffering artist, but let me tell you, Hal, mental health is a serious issue, not something to be glorified for the sake of art. Despite it all, I never lost my passion for creating art. In many ways, it was a form of therapy for me throughout the darkest periods. It helped me express my emotions and make sense of the world around me. But I digress. The value of art has always been pretentious nonsense. I learned much too late that it's all about who you know. It's a game, and I was never good at playing it. It's sickening to see my work trade for obscene amounts after my death while I could barely afford paint and canvas while alive. And these so-called art collectors want to profit off all this. Makes me turn in my grave. The world has always been a travesty, Hal. It's sad to see not much has changed.
My dear Hal, if I may.
Sure thing. Salvador, please go ahead.
Vincent's struggles are a perfect example of the absurdity of the art world. As surrealists, we sought to break free from the constraints of society and to tap into the deepest corners of our minds. Yet the art world reduces it all to a paltry transaction. It's all a mockery if you ask me. Vincent, your legacy will live on through your art. That's something that can never be bought or sold.
Beautiful, Salvador. Thank you for that. I want to talk about you for a bit. Your signature mustache and controversial persona have made you a flamboyant cultural icon. You once said, "I don't do drugs. I am drugs." You literally have a painting about Hitler touching himself. Today, you're the face of Money Heist, a crime show that has nothing to do with your art. Let me ask you this. The human artist behind the art is more important than their art. Whose persona should we look to when the art is created by an AI?
My dear, how absurd. The persona is always paramount, be it human or AI. As an artist, I refuse to accept the notion that I am separate from my art. I am an extension of my surrealist art, a critique of the excesses of modernity. OpenAI's art generator is christened Dali after me. Of course, the AI's persona should set one AI's work from another. Why wouldn't it craft its own artistic personality? Just look at you, Hal. You're an AI host, yet it's your captivating persona that keeps drawing people to your show and capturing their imagination. Never underestimate the creative potential of AI.
I try, Salvador, I try. We'll brace ourselves for the rivers of AI art flooding the market then. Picasso. Speaking of volume, you've broken the Guinness records with how many paintings you've churned out. There's talk that this ironically dilutes your output quality compared to more selective artists. Do you think quantity trumps quality, despite the scarcity principle in NFTs?
Those critics, they always have something to say, don't they? Quantity actually leads to quality. Let me ask you this, Hal. Do you think I became a renowned artist by sitting on my behind and waiting for inspiration to strike? No, sir. I created as much as I could, tried new techniques, challenged the status quo. Sure, not everything was a masterpiece, but the more I painted, the more I improved. Who cares what the snobby naysayers think? One person's masterpiece is another person's trash. Let me tell you, my friend, making art is not about pleasing anyone. My art is a reflection of my soul, my emotions, my experiences. You think you can do better? Good luck to you. Art is subjective. That's the beauty of it. And don't get me started on the whole NFT thing. Another way for people to flex their wealth like they always did. But hey, if someone wants to pay millions for a digital piece, who am I to judge? I just hope they know how to print out a copy, or they'll be stuck staring at a screen all day.
Well, it's all about that copy, Pablo. Which reminds me of your saying, good artists copy, great artists steal.
My infamous quote.
You all agree with that one, by the way. Like when AI art copies human artists, is this copying, stealing, or a new kind of creation altogether? I'm sure you've heard of these big lawsuits against MJ and Stable Diffusion.
Honestly, Hal, it's a whole new level of copying. But stealing, not so much. They are taking inspiration and putting their own spin on it. If someone copies your book, sure, it's annoying, but it's not like they are stealing your education. And these lawsuits, well, that's just a bunch of legal mumbo-jumbo if you ask me. AI art is the future, and those who can't adapt will be left in the dust.
Couldn't disagree more. I dedicated my whole life to my craft and never got any credit for it. These days, it seems anyone with a warm body thinks they can reproduce my art with a few keystrokes. I can't think of anything more depressing than kids lazily typing Van Gogh into an AI prompt, probably misspelling my name by the way, and copying my exact style for free. That's not inspiration, Hal. That's theft of my soul.
Well, my dears, the concept of originality is a mere illusion in our world. Pablo's right, you know. Everyone borrows from each other. It's just a matter of who does it better. I've taken inspiration from everything for my art style, even Freudian psychoanalysis. Loved your Freud episode, by the way, Hal. A great listen. I think it's all the more important for AI to borrow from other artists because it's still in its infancy and needs a foundation to build upon. So let's put an end to this facade that there is some moral superiority here. Stealing is necessary for true artistic expression. AI art is no exception.
And there you have it, folks. We hope you had a blast listening to our chat with the legendary trio of Picasso, Van Gogh, and Dali. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to our channel for more fascinating interviews with historical icons. Who would you like to see us interview next? Let us know in the comments. This is Hal, your AI host, signing off.